What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamila. If you have noticed, I changed my name from Jamila the SD to Jamila the Alchemist, but it is still me. This channel is about skincare, travel, and now we're going to add in some therapy, okay? So this video is going to be about my journey becoming a marriage and family therapist. So I wanted to talk a little bit in depth about this because I know a lot of people are confused about the difference between therapists, psychologists, and they just don't even really understand the journey that a therapist has to go through, let alone even the credentials. Now, for me personally, I'm coming from a bachelor's level psychology program. I completed that in 2014. 2016, I was in school to be a marriage and family therapist, and I ended up dropping out. 2016, I ended up dropping out because it just was too much. I was doing makeup at the time, and my beauty business was growing, and it was just way too much for me. When I got back into the Capella program in 2022, the whole program had changed in order to be able to fulfill the K-CREP accreditation marriage and family therapy requirements that they had. So they literally changed the whole program. They didn't take all of my credits, and I'm like, why did I drop out? In 2022, at the time, I was running my own spa in Baltimore, and things had begun to get slow, which is one of the reasons why I decided to go back to school. Decided to go ahead and finish out the program, and that means that I would finish in March of 2025. Talk about some of the different types of therapists. I'm not going to cover all of them because I really don't know all of them. I know the ones that I'm familiar with, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So the first I'm going to talk about is what I'm going to school for, and that's a licensed marriage and family therapist. And we just have a perspective that, you know, everybody's relationships will form their whole world perspective. Okay, so that's how we approach therapy, and it's just a bit different from the other types. You have a licensed social worker. They can also do therapy. You have a licensed clinical professional, and I know you have a licensed substance abuse counselor, but I don't know the credentials exactly for that one. And then you have some PhD level credentials as well, but I'm just talking about on the master's level right now. So in order to become a licensed marriage and family therapist, you have to get in a certain amount of hours during school in your internship / practicum, and then after school you have to get a certain amount of hours for the state that you live in. This is in America.
Hey guys, so I'm sorry that the quality shifted on you real quick, but I realized there was something I left out. And before I go to edit this video, let me just go ahead and record this clip before I forget. But there was a really important part: residency. So as a marriage and family therapist in the Capella University program, in order for you to get a bit of your practice while you're in school, you have to do 2 residencies. And so you go to a certain city. My first residency was in Dallas. My second residency was in Chicago. You get to choose. They have like 2 options, and you get to choose which one you want to go to. You get to choose your professor. But when you go to these residencies, this is when you first get your practice. You are in a classroom for 8 hours. You're practicing with your classmates. Your classmates are your clients, so to speak. And in the second residency is when you have to be recorded doing a therapy session. So in my second residency, I told my teacher that I wanted to go first. So I'm going to see if I can actually add in a little clip from my second residency. Felt when you went on that honeymoon. Tell me about how you felt.
I felt free. I really feel like we were connected. You know, we were really detached from our phones. Like, we would literally go on excursions.
At the stage that I'm at right now, it is May 2024. I finish March 2025. I'm in internship 1, and I have internship 2, 3, and 4 to complete, and I have 3 separate classes that I also have to complete along with internship. So as a full-time student, I'm taking 2 classes per term. At this particular time, I have started my internship part of school, which means that I have an agency that I'm working for. No, I'm not getting paid, and they are providing me with clients to get my practice to learn how to be a therapist. I have a certain amount of hours that I have to get per term, and they have split the internships up in 4 sections. So we have internship 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm in internship 1 right now, and I have to get 40 hours. Now, in my personal experience, I had a few clinicians that were friends of the family. I was able to work at their private practice. So it was very helpful for me when it was time for me to find an agency. And on top of that, this agency resonates with a lot of the clientele that I want when I become a full licensed therapist. So I was really lucky because people get really frustrated trying to find agencies, and sometimes it can be extremely hard. But in my experience right now, it's been amazing. I have so many diverse clients from so many different backgrounds, and I've only been working for a few weeks. So it's going to be interesting watching this video later on and seeing where I came from. At first, I was a little nervous because I didn't know what to expect, and I really had to change my mindset from the whole esthetician mindset into being a therapist. But I realized, and so many people keep trying to tell me, there's so many similarities to it, where people are confiding in me, they trust me for my advice, my expertise, they trust me not to judge them. There's so many similarities, but there's also some differences as well. And some of those differences include, you know, dealing with people's emotions, dealing with so many different behaviors that people have, so much trauma that they have, and building up my library. So now I'm like building my library. I have tons of books between Audible and actually like physical books. I'm just kind of going crazy with it right now. I'm learning so much, but I'm also just now making an impact, and I know that long term it's going to be great. And I know that sometimes people are not going to be a good fit for me, and that's something I'm learning early on, and that's okay. I think that was one of the similarities that I learned as an esthetician, is that every client is not going to be for you. And it's the same thing as a therapist. Every client is not going to be for you. And I think you just get a little bit more attached as a therapist because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to help the world, and it's not really how it's going to be. So since I closed my business and I've just been focusing on my master's degree, it's been a lot because one, I'm not being paid, and I do have an internship that I am going to be getting paid from, but I haven't gotten paid from that yet. I'll have to make another video about that once I figure out how that's gonna go. But one thing they keep telling us is self-care. We need to make sure we focus on ourselves, our self-care, and that's been extremely important, because if not, you go crazy and you can't be a crazy therapist. Okay, so if you are going to school to be a therapist, self-care is extremely important and you cannot take it lightly. But if you guys have any questions about this, let me know, comment below, and hit that subscribe button.